Hello, everyone. We are going to give it a few minutes to see if we have a special guest pop in. I don't know if he's going to make it right off the bat or if it's going to take him a few minutes because so anyway, the long and short of it all is I'm here for right now. Hey, Outdoors with Big Matt, how are you? I'm going to Outdoors with Big Matt, if it's okay. Hang on. Eric B., welcome, welcome. I was going to say, Outdoors with Big Matt, if you're going to be here for a while, let me know and I'll rinse you. I know Ledka's live right now. I'm not wanting anyone to leave Ledka's live. I think dude's still grinding for hours. Hey, Survival, I'm good. How are you? Big Matt, I'm doing good. How are you? I've got a friend of mine who is probably going to come on with me tonight when he gets where he can. So anyway, tell me about your weekend. Here, I'll just go ahead and rinse you anyway, Big Matt, if that's okay with you. Let me know if it's not okay with you and I'll take it off. Sorry, Big Matt. It's the only thing I want is extreme profanity being held out. Yeah, Survival, I caught part of your live earlier. It was an interesting fellow you had on. Can't remember his name, but I do remember that was quite interesting. I was like really tuned in for like about 20 minutes. Matt, are you watching on YouTube? Because I'm seeing my picture. I'm waving. Let me know if you see me waving. Mickey, KY. How are you, Mickey, Kentucky? Guys, is my picture good? Is my audio good? Let me know. Because I was not planning on going live tonight. However, I do have a special guest that hopefully is going to be joining me here in a minute. Yeah, Mickey, it's so far all things are good. I have to go back to the doctor this Tuesday and get looked at again, and hopefully that's going to be the final anything, everything. It's hopefully that's where it ends. Aha. I've got a guest now, and you should be on air pretty quick. Ah, there you are.
What's up?
Not a lot. How's it going? Snakes on the Plains. How are you doing?
It's going good. It's been a busy day. I just got home. We've been in Central Oklahoma at a gymnastics meet with my daughter. So we just got home about 20 minutes ago. Been a long day.
I was gonna say, man, them kids when they turn teenagers, they will where you smooth out, running and going.
Yes, we stay very busy with her specifically. My son, he's a little more low key. My daughter, we're something every weekend with her, somewhere doing something, staying busy. So it's all right. That's good. Good times.
Well, and that's good because I'm a big believer in parents getting involved with their kids stuff. Hey Jessica, how you doing? And things like that. And I kind of didn't know exactly, um, you know, like I said, I was just telling everybody that I was kind of running a live tonight to see if we could pull this off and see if I could remember how to work StreamYard because I'm really not all that smart and I tend to forget things. I mean, unless they're like, Crotalus related, which I kind of tied this to that, so
Well,
it'll work out. But I mean,
this is my very first time, so you're teaching me.
well, and I know that you have not done the live thing before.
Yeah.
Hey Joker, glad you're here, man. I caught one of your lives earlier. I'll catch up on the others. But I was talking to Squatchy last night over in Arkansas, and we were talking about the challenge of being a herp-related channel, getting through the winter. And
Yeah.
and I know when you quit uploading to YouTube, your subs start dropping, your time starts dropping. But you had some good success. Your latest video, I mean, like 500 views in 12 or 14 hours for a channel with your sub count.
Yeah.
Don't take any
No,
offense.
I get it. Yeah.
I was like,
I'm growing.
I'm sitting there. Yeah, everyone's like trying to put you up to figure out what I got going on. I'm sitting here trying to figure out what you got going on because it's like, it looks like your premiere out the gate was a lot better than in the last several I've done. Mickey, see you later. Thank you for stopping in. Always good to have you. Thank you, Ariel. I always appreciate your wrenching skills. You and Joker are great.
Yeah, thanks, Mickey. I'm just trying to catch up on the comments. I'm not good at multitasking, so.
I was going to say, my advice would be is to ignore the comments and let me keep an eye on them.
There you go. Hey, I'm all about that. I'll follow your lead. How about that?
So, okay, that's a good plan. It took me a little bit of time to get used to doing lives. I like to be behind the camera, not in front of it. Yeah. I like to be filming, taking pictures. That's my gig. Obviously GQ isn't hitting me up, to be on their cover this month. So, you got to find some other gig some other way.
Yeah. They miss me too.
Being in front of the camera is just, you kind of have to learn to get comfortable with it. But after you do it a few times, it kind of generally works out. Now, I want to be really careful where I walk with you because like we know each other in real life. We've met a couple of times. Hopefully that number is going to increase several times over the next year.
Oh, it will.
Because I'm like tricking out my truck with stuff so I can like cart my dog around so I can get out to the little town of Eric. Let's just say the little town of Eric.
It's good stuff down there.
Good stuff down there. And get some more filming done. And honestly, I'm kind of wanting to guide my channel a little more like Smet Logics, like yours, like Lou's, throw in a little more B-roll, see if I can't keep people watching a little longer.
Yeah.
But tell me about that last video you did. I saw like a comment where it was like, it was just kind of like a leftover clips that you had done. You'd had leftover clips of snakes, and some of it was in Oklahoma, and then some of it was
Texas.
Yeah,
it was kind of actually I set out in September to do a video on like baby snakes. I got a place down in Northwest Texas I can go, and it's just loaded with baby croats. I mean, mainly Atrox, your Western Diamondbacks, but you'll find a few Veritas, lots of Sagas, Masaguas, and I started out with the intent of doing that, and it didn't really work. I didn't find really that night what I wanted. Got sidetracked with an Arizona trip, which took precedence, and honestly, I kind of forgot about it, and I was sitting there the night, and I remembered it. Actually, I come across a picture that I took, the one that I posted of the little baby Atrox by the penny, and
Right.
it occurred to me that I still had some stuff that I forgot about. So I threw it together in one evening. I got off work and I came home and just started on it and knocked it out in about 4 or 5 hours. And it was kind of there was some other stuff I threw in there too, like just, like B-roll stuff that never made the cut of like some garter snakes and different things like that. And I just, threw it all together in a hurry and pushed it out. And believe it or not, it's not taken off like crazy, but better than a lot of my stuff did. And kind of attribute that possibly just to it's the off season. And then if somebody's interested in anything herping like we are, they see it, they're going to click on it because there's nothing else to choose from. But
Right.
I don't know. It did fairly well. I think I had, last time I checked, it wasn't quite 500. It was like 450 or something views. But for me in 24 hours, that's pretty good. So
I was going to say, it's by tomorrow morning, it will be 500. And,
yeah, hopefully we'll see. Yeah, it's at 485.
I think it's going to roll that way for you. I'm sending Pimby a link just so he can watch us embarrass ourselves.
All right. Pemberton, yeah, that's another guy. If y'all like hiking or anything, or history, he's definitely wanting to check out the Pemberton Boys. Man, he puts together awesome stuff. He's a really good dude. He likes to go herping with us, but he's really into the hiking side of stuff and Native American history, and he's very knowledgeable. And he's got an awesome channel, so I definitely would suggest you check it out.
He's a quality channel that we mention over here quite a bit.
Yeah,
because a lot of people honestly, they might look at one of my videos or one of your videos, specifically like one of your videos, and think, this is what Oklahoma's like. Then they see one of my videos or something like, you got salamanders in Oklahoma. It's like, isn't it all desert there? It's like, no, actually there's several specific different biomes.
Yeah.
That, there's like swamps in the southeast, mountains in the southwest, mountains in the northwest, open plains land through the north central part of the state, and then deciduous temperate forest in the northeast corner where I'm at.
Yeah.
And so, you kind of deal with all these different perceptions of, what Oklahoma is.
Yeah.
And and the Pemberton Boys is like a great look into the amazing southwest part of the state. I love southwestern Oklahoma, and I just don't get down there enough. I honestly, my wife is thinking about like getting like a second home in Norman.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here thinking, okay, this is for you and your family's messed up OU idolatry. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out how can I, Norman to Lawton, how many miles, what's the time? Yeah. I'm sitting there going Google Maps, and she's like, you told me if I spend another $1, you'll run off. And I'm like, no, hon, this may be a good deal. I'm sitting there keying in maps and stuff.
If you can get to Norman, you could be in the refuge in about 50 minutes. Interstate drive, straight time. It's a good place.
Well, and that's the thing is it's just it's an amazing area, just rife with biodiversity.
It definitely is.
And yeah, I'm getting requests for your links, and I should have had that ready, but I'm kind of a bad host. Here you go, Jessica. Check it out. Please hit them and please sub. You will probably not be disappointed. If you like reptiles, now once again, this is the wild side. This is stuff we find native in Oklahoma, North Texas, West Texas, Arizona. Guy's got an amazing channel. He makes an incredible video. I really encourage you guys to go check him out. Hey, Lou B popped in.
Hey, Lou, what's up?
Lou's always poking around.
Going on. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you, Jess. I appreciate you doing that. But yeah, we were, and you'll find out that as we go through these things, I get sidetracked a lot, go down a bunch of different roads and up over the hill. And but I was
It's all
talking
right.
to Squatchy, and he was like, I need to do like a comeback video or something. Or I said, dude, you just need to go upload, like, take 5 minutes of nature video and upload
Yeah.
it, just so your channel doesn't go, I won't say dormant, but it seems like
Yeah.
YouTube that can happen. Hang on. What was the first snake of the year, Lou?
Already
Lou,
finding snakes in January. That's good.
yeah, it's Southern California, as was what it sounds like to me. Is
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Southern
Rosie boa
California with a
heads.
Ferrari. The snakes just come out to the road to check you out. I
Yeah.
mean, you don't have to look for them. I mean,
Rosie
so
boa. That's a good first snake of the year. That's a good snake. Any snake of the year.
I would roll with that, Lou. Did you get video, Lou? Hey, Headhunter, how are you doing? Good to see you. Been a long time.
I got very lucky and stumbled across a Rosie boa on my. Me and Pemberton did actually in Arizona, and that was a complete shock. That made the whole trip for me. Anyways.
I tell you, there's so many things. A lot of people think I'm hung up on Protes, and I am. Like real bad. I mean, you know this. You've known the internal strife that it's caused the local contingency.
Yeah, some people can't take a joke.
Well, and I don't really run over, milk snakes with a 4x4 either. I mean, anybody who knows me should know that's like me being a facetious idiot. But, it's honestly more of an appreciation for like the desert and the desert biomes and stuff like that. It's kind of like my favorite place is Arizona and,
Yeah, oh, mine
Utah,
too.
New
Yeah,
Mexico. You don't get any better than that. And, and it looks like you guys found so much in Arizona from the ringnecks down there, those regals.
yeah, yeah. It was Arizona was it was amazing. I can be in West Texas where everybody goes in 6-7 hours from where I live. I've shot down there quite a bit, and West Texas is fun. Down the Davis Mountains over to Sanderson and stuff. But I'll be honest, to me, it doesn't hold a. It's not even close to Arizona. We went over there, and I went by myself, just to check it out before me and Pemberton went. And the
Right.
first night I found, I think 30 snakes, if I remember. Maybe not. Maybe it was like 15. I don't know. It was a bunch, but they were just everywhere. And I got there. I got started late, and I drove 14 hours to get there. I was tired. I went in early, and but it's just not even knowing what I was doing, not even knowing where to go. Just it just started out immediately. It was just one after another, and it's so pretty, like you're saying, that the mountains, and then the different habitats. You'll be in the mountains, then you go down to the desert floor. It's a whole. You can find a whole different kinds of snakes, based off the areas that you're in, within such a short distance. A lot of diversity. And it was really fun, and I definitely plan on trying to make a few more trips out there this year if everything works out. I'd like to take a crew out there, you included. That'd be awesome. It'd be fun.
I definitely want to be considered for being a part of that team.
Heck yeah,
Um, I literally, just it's been so long since I've been down there. It's been a while since I've been down to West Texas even. And West Texas
West
is
Texas is
not
fun.
it is, and it's good, but it's not Western New Mexico. It's
Yeah,
not Arizona, and
me and you like the Croats. A lot of guys don't, and there's that's the thing out there. It's just so much diversity, and um, I got lucky and stumbled upon quite a few clobs out there, which was my goal, and that was amazing to me. So next year it'll be a long shot, but I want to find a Originos, a Willie. That's probably going to be my number one goal next year, and I'll probably fail, but it may take me a few years, but we'll
well,
know someday.
you kind of like irritate the heck out of me by like going out and finding on the first
Dude,
swag. something
I
I've
don't
been still looking for 3 years. So
I don't know how. I will admit I have great beginner's luck. I'll go out and I could go look for a cobra in southern Arizona and find one probably. I don't know, but it's just. But once I find it, I suck after that. So I don't know. It's just it is odd. I will give you that, and that's what I've been telling Smell Logic. He's wanting that vine. I'm like, just I've never looked for one. So if he calls me, maybe we can make that happen. Yeah.
well, and I'm telling him that he needs to take you to the spots where they know they're at, just because your stupid beginner's luck will win you one. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I had a problem for years where like I had one timber site and then it got demolished, and then like I had a heck of a time finding a replacement one where I
Yeah.
could go and see two or three on the reg on the right day. Had one that was right under my nose, never put it together, and kind of figured they were probably there, but just never saw them there. And so the kind of running joke with me has been, I might find something really crazy once in a while, but then I can't find stuff that everybody else sees on the regular.
Yeah. I have that same problem. I mean, I do, and it's frustrating. Year to year seems to be different for me, and it might be like I'm new at this still. This is I think only my third year to do this, maybe fourth, but one year, like timbers are a great example. The first year I was doing this, I found a spot fairly close to home that was just lousy with them, and I'd go out every night and find 5 or 6, and it got boring. And then the next year I went out and I I couldn't find none of them in the same area. It's just like it dries up, and I don't know enough about it yet if that's something that is normal or not, but it seems to be the case for me. So
Well, and like there's this one place south of Tulsa where we find all kinds of things. And one year I was down there with my buddy Travis, the guy I was telling you about from Duncan,
yeah,
and he found an actual rattle, a rattle that had been shed. He found it's like 4 segments of a rattle, and this was probably 2011, 2010, somewhere in there. And he saw it and he gave it to Jimmy, who was he was then the president of the Tulsa Herp Club, which they used to be pretty active in field herping, field trips, and things like that. And we were in obvious pygmy rattlesnake territory.
yeah,
This is like where the hot spot is for pygmies over here on this side of the state. And he's like, this is not from a cistrus. This is big enough. It's a crotalus,
yeah.
or it's one hell of a pygmy. It's just one or the other.
A big me.
And so like so like we keep working this place year after year and driving by it. There's milks there. There's hogs there. There's anything that you find east of I-35 is going to be there generally.
Yeah,
And the my friends who some younger kids that I herp with, they went to this spot that once again I've been going to for years. My friends have been going to for years. And they hit it on the right day, and they score like 5 timbers in the same morning. And
yeah,
they're all coming out of this one rock in the side of the hill, and so they're pretty sure
yeah.
that's the den site.
That's your den.
And
Yeah,
it was early in the season, so like so I'm like, look, punks, I used to pay you guys' ways into reptile shows. You remember that? Remember all Uncle Tug's done for you? Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah, we'll take you to
Prepaid.
show you, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
And so I've got some footage from that outing coming up. But
that'd be cool.
it's just it kind of I kind of like what Smet Logic had to say in their most recent video about find a biodiversity hotspot close to home,
Yeah,
because the more you work it and the more time you spend out there, you pick up on things.
absolutely. Yeah, that's a great point. When I was brand new at this, I was really fortunate. I had a guy that I stumbled across that had, and I'm not going to say too much about it, but it was about 25 miles east of me, and it's loaded with timbers, has some pygmies, and all kinds of fossorials, and it was a lot of a rocky spot. And I mean, you're absolutely right. I went out there and I learned a lot about where to look for certain things. It's helped me later on and different things. But he's absolutely right. I would get off work and drive out there in the spring and spend 2 hours a night, flipping and just searching and looking for timber rattlesnake dens and and different things. And I learned a whole lot, and that is excellent advice. It's hard to find sometimes, especially if you live in the bigger cities, but I don't, but that's good advice.
Well, I tell you, I'm kind of lucky where I'm at in Tulsa, as I've kind of always been on the outskirts of the city. So you do have some hot spots within the city, and they're all pretty regularly known. But then you have these little spots outside the city where they connect to green belts and
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
and and it's been farmland for 100 years. It's never been
Yeah.
developed, and
That's
so
good.
you have places that are just like 10 miles out of the city where you can find pigs, timbers, coppers,
Hmm.
cottonmouths, all in the same 2-3 square mile radius. You just have to be out there the amount of time,
Yeah.
and in the right conditions, and
Yep.
realizing how those conditions change everything is part of
Absolutely.
something I'm going to dig a little more into. But I also, when I can get out, I just like to get out.
Yeah.
If I find something great, if I don't, it doesn't
I'm
wreck
the
my
same
time.
way. I'm the same way. I love to find things, but to me, it's just going out, whether it's hiking or road cruising. It's just relaxing. It takes me away from the real world. That's half the fun to me. I go out. I obviously I want to find stuff, but if I don't, I'm cool with that too. Just being out in nature and being away from everything. It's nice.
Yeah. Which leads me to another question. Did you guys run across any crazy mammals or birds in Arizona or West Texas recently?
Uh, Not really. I mean, we out in Arizona, we seen a ringtail. Um, for me, that was pretty cool. I've only seen one other one. That was down in South Texas, but not really. Believe it or not, we didn't. But we were so focused on road cruising that we probably and what was right there in front of us on the road. There's no telling what we drove right by. But we really
Right.
know birds interest me, especially like raptors and things. But I'll be honest, I know zero about them. I need to research that a little more, and I've probably seen a lot that I had no idea what it was. Specifically out in Southwest Arizona, we went out to uh, I can't remember the name of the national park, something with a cactus, and somebody
Saguaro.
probably and yeah, and it that was right on the border with Mexico, and
Hmm.
there was a lot of you could tell there's a lot of cool wildlife out there, different things, and it was just still blazing hot, and everything was put up, wasn't a whole lot out. It was just so hot, but it was really pretty out there, and you could tell there was a lot of different kinds of mammals out there if in the right conditions. I feel like.
Right. Yeah. I want to say Kevin, my buddy Kevin, took off and did West Texas. I want to say probably around April of this year, and the weather was still like trashy down there. I mean, like it
Yeah.
kind of was up here. It wasn't
No, this
here.
this past year, man, it took forever to warm up. It was mid-May and it was still cold. We had that February where it was even down here. It was like negative at my house, -13. It's never been that cold in my lifetime, and we got like 18 inches of snow, and that stuck around for. It was freezing through March and April. We had a few nice days, but overall, it was a crappy spring.
Yeah, I was kind of, I kind of had people popping into town, and they were like, show me the roads where you do all this stuff, and I'm like, well, okay, but like it's cloudy and 49
Yeah,
for a high, and you're getting into April and May some at that
yeah,
point,
and
and
it's
it
like
just
the snap of the thumb. It goes from too cold to too hot here. You get that sweet spot of about a week and a half sometimes, and that's unfortunately about like what we had this spring.
well, and people on New Year's Eve were finding like line snakes and stuff under
Yeah,
rocks because it was so
yeah,
warm, and it's just
yeah,
the Oklahoma weather complex is something that you know um, you have to really not figure out, but you just have to really spend a lot of time. To me, that's when I go back through my old field journals, and I go back like probably around 2006 is when I started keeping them, and basically it's just species, time and date, uh, simple
yeah,
weather conditions, what's the wind, what's the temperature, what's the barometric pressure. those
Yeah.
three things. And
Yeah.
what I've kind of, one thing I've been able to tie together is the amount of time. Like I used to herp 4 or 5 nights a week. Now I'm
Yeah.
lucky if I
Yeah.
get out one. Marriage, life, responsibilities, kids. I mean, I don't have a
Yes.
kids part, but that's not a burden, but it's one of those things that takes you out of the game a little more.
Oh,
So,
it does. Definitely.
um,
That's yeah. The first 2 years I went, I think I attribute a lot of my beginner's luck to having a whole lot more time. Uh, at that time, I had an assignment at my job where I had just loads of free time. I made my own schedule, and that's not the case anymore. And that definitely, it definitely will prohibit your ability to get out as much. And yeah, and just being out there, my advice is to just find what you're looking for, find the habitat, and like you were saying, and Smet was saying, just go over and over and over and over, put the hours in, be there, and you'll find it. And once you find it, that's the thing I tell people too, that I've noticed, is that I'll find something that I'm just searching hard for, hard for, and then once I find it, it's like it's everywhere. Well, because I've learned when, where, and how, and once you learn that, it's just part of it. And I'm by no means an expert. I'm just getting started in this, but that would be my advice to anybody out there.
yeah,
Starting, I guess.
you got a question coming in. DEA Exotics, my buddy Andrew in North Dakota, wants to know what find made you the most excited. And I'm going to say this is probably gear this towards your Arizona trip.
Well,
Because
man, last year was awesome. What jumps into my head was finding the banded rock rattlesnakes, the clogs, because I went the year before looking in kind of El Paso, the Franklin Mountains has. I've never found one there, but they're beautiful. They're a pearl white colored, the clogs, and I've went for years and looked, and I've never had any luck there. And going out to Arizona, I went to a place just completely by luck and stumbled upon. There was once again the right time of day, the right weather, and I would take 5 steps and I'd hear a buzz, and I'd look, and there's one. Take another 5 steps. There was another. They were everywhere. They were just out on the crawl in the morning, and that was crazy. But honestly, I have to say, last year I think the most exciting thing I found was the milk snake in Kiowa County, which is western Oklahoma. And that, I did a lot of research on that, put in a lot of time to get permission to get on the land because I figured they might be there.
right.
And that, to me, there's a lot of, me being fairly new at this, there's a lot of guys that have been doing this for years and years and years and tried to find them over there, and without any luck, that are a lot better than me. And when I found that was pretty exciting. I think that was probably my favorite thing of the year, I think. But I don't know, man. In Arizona, I found so many cool things. It's hard to say, but the one that jumps out at me would definitely be the western Oklahoma milk snake. Because if you go east of I-35, I can make a trip east of I-35 in a day and find one pretty regularly in the spring, as can most. And but western Oklahoma, I worked for that for about a month too before I finally came across it. So.
Well, I tell you, the Kiowa County milk snake, when I heard about it, I thought, oh boy, this is going to go over big with the home crew contingency. We'll just
I gained a lot of friends.
You gained a lot of friends with that find. I imagine that.
Yeah, that I did. That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, that was pretty incredible. And once again, I found the habitat in the right area, and I'm going to go back out this year and hopefully find some more. I found that one, and that was it. But it was towards the end of like we talked about before, it was so cold, and right after that, it was hot, and everything was. There wasn't anything under any rocks because they would have been baking. So,
Well, and that kind of leads to another thing as not last year, I want to say the year before last. Now, keep in mind, a lot of life happened to me in that period. But what I will always remember this is it was 2 days before my dad passed away. It was actually the day before. Me and Kevin went to a spot, and we found speckled kings, eastern racers, the yellow bellieds, and then he goes off and I'm taking this rock, he's taking the next rock.
Yeah.
And this kid can flip rocks all day. I can't anymore. I'm down at the truck drinking coffee or something. It's kind of, arthritis and old age. You start getting that. And yeah, and anyway, like I flip one rock and there's like this ringneck snake under it, which, they're all over eastern Oklahoma. He takes the next rock and it's this beautiful milk. It's that one you see in my video. It's that one was the video from that day. And I really think that flipping a milk would be a lot neater experience than, like, milks are not something I really just would care to work with. They just don't really phase me a lot. I mean, I would like to flip my own habitat find, my own find, and not even have anybody around.
Yeah.
So that has yet to happen for me, and I've been doing this for ages. I mean,
milk snakes for me are one of those that they're really pretty, they're cool, and I like to go. I've kind of made my mind up. I find one a spring. I've got it, cool. I move on, and that's kind of where I'm at. And I don't even know that I'll go look in eastern. I say that I probably will, but out east this year, I might just try to find my western Oklahoma. I think I found two or three last year, one in eastern Oklahoma and that one in western. I think it's just two. And but I agree. They're really neat. And some people, they live for it, but me, I don't know. It's kind of, I found one. Okay, I'll move on to the next thing.
And that's the way I consider them. And once again, I might get the fever if I flipped one of my own, but it's like I've been there when other people have found them, and and once again, I'm still, me, I'm a fan of our native venomous. I mean, for whatever reason, those intrigue me. A lot of people, tend to think of them as trash snakes or everyday finds, and me, I never get bored with messing with any of them. The one that has eluded me for like 3 years solid, and I was going to kill it this year until I slipped and fell in my swimming pool, was the Plains Hognose. I mean, that was going to be the target. I had 3 weekends marked off to get to northwestern Oklahoma, where there are spots where I bona fide know they are there. You just have to be there when conditions are right.
Yep.
I took Autumn from Hissy Fits there one time, and she is from Pennsylvania, so she had never seen a plain-bellied water snake outside of my videos. So she's sitting there going, well, hang on, I'm still getting photos of this. I'm like, no, let's get in the truck. Let's go. I don't think she's been herping with me since. She thinks I'm a jerk now. No, just kidding. She doesn't. But like literally, and like the next week, in September, I like do this to my arm and pretty much put the kibosh on my entire fall season.
We never even got to hook up last year because of just different things that happened. But I got a pretty reliable Plains Hognose snake spot next year we can hit.
Well, I tell you what, I would like to see it because one, it's just something I need to mark off the fine list. That's not road pizza. I mean, we've all kind of seen those.
Yeah.
But and then and if you don't know, no sweat, but did the Plains get what is it? The Plains and the Dusty Hognose now that they get reclassified?
Yeah, and I don't quote me on this, but from what I understand, yes, like maybe 2 years ago, the Plains / Western Hognose, I guess, is split up into 2 different categories. From what I understand, the Plains and then the Dusky. And I don't know a lot about it. I know the ones that they're finding in like central Oklahoma are the Duskies. And the ones I'm finding, I'm told they're still Plains. But as far as telling the difference or why there's a difference, I'm not the man for that. I don't know. But yeah, I believe they did split them up.
And I have come to hate taxonomy because of things like that.
And that's one thing also. For the first 2 years, I killed myself trying to learn, all these these names, the Latin names of everything. And then once I got it figured out, the next year they would change it. And it's really got to the point with me. I kind of know it a little bit on the backside, but I don't stress over it. I'm big on common names unless it's like Atrox, because that's easier to say than Western Diamondback, something like that. But or Viridis, it's a lot easier than
Prairie rattlesnake.
So, but yeah, the taxonomy, it's like everybody just wants to get their name in a book. That's my opinion. It's like they look for reasons to change that stuff. I wish they would just nail it down and keep it somewhat simple for us simple folks. But,
well, and used to the scientific names were more reliable than the common names. Yeah. Now it almost seems that with American species, now how it's going in the rest of the world, I haven't paid attention, but it almost seems like now the common names, stick around more than the taxonomic names or the Latin names. And once again, I'm not, I'm long past the stage of being a snake scientist or a herpetologist or whatever. It's kind of like it's just what I do for fun now. It's how I get out in nature. Yeah. And someone left a comment on one of my videos. It's like, that's not a timber rattlesnake, that's a canebrake. Do you not know the difference? And I'm like, going, do you not know that they were reclassified back into timbers like 15 years ago? And the guy was like, sorry, I've done hard time. And I'm like, okay. No, I get that.
Yeah. And this, when I first got into this, when I was big into finding the milk snakes, I went down, the first milk snake I found was a Louisiana milk snake, the Mara, whatever it was called. And now I guess it's all Gentilis, the Westerns. And I stressed about 2 years over that. And I was like, you know what? I got better things to do than try to learn Latin names. So it's a milk snake. That's what I say. Look, I found a milk snake. I don't care what kind, it's a milk snake. So,
yeah. I mean, that's about the way I am anymore. And just, if you can find any milk snake, it's like, that's just generally like a legendary herping day, at least for me,
Oh yeah, for me too. That's always it's definitely the highlight of the trip. Like I said, they're still fun to find. I mean, because they're so challenging. That's one thing I like, the challenge. If you go out and obviously if you flip for 10 minutes and find something, that's no challenge there. So it's usually, even in Eastern Oklahoma, for me, it'll be 3 or 4 hours worth of flipping and working before I find one, and that makes it fun. But there's croats out there to be found. Me and you agree with that. So.
Oh yeah. Well, and the older I get, like I said, the less I can flip.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of getting to where I focus more on the road cruising aspect of it, and I don't really, I don't really worry about that or sweat it. And some people like, everything you find is on the roads. I'm like, well, I mean, I can find stuff. I mean, it would help if you give me access to your ranch. That would be, like, can I have a key? Okay, no, then shut up. Delete, block, whatever. But
yeah, I've noticed, like I said, in my 4 years, of course, I was in a lot better shape 4 years ago. 4 years, I go out and flip for 8 hours, and I'd feel it the next day. But now, last year, 2 to 3 hours, probably done for the day. And I tell you, who's a flipping machine is Smetlogic's son, Nicholas. That guy, my goodness, I've never seen anybody like that. That guy was going just flip, 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 and putting everything back perfectly like he found it too. I don't know how he was doing it. He was incredible.
Well, I tell you, I don't know if you've ever met Jubal. I think you did.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've never really flipped with him. I don't guess we've road cruised and hung out a little bit. We road cruised last probably August out in Western Oklahoma, and we were looking for a prairie, and we found one. Unfortunately, just been ran over. But that was the first time to really herp with him. But yeah, that dude's good for as young as he is. Yeah, he blowed me out of the water. He's excellent.
I generally, that's why, like, I try to take him or Kevin or one of the younger guys along because they can flip stuff
Yeah.
all day, and
Yeah.
I'm getting to where, you know, I'm lucky, you know, if I have both arms functional at this point,
Yeah. No,
but
I take that back. I did flip with him once.
mhm.
Out of Sandy Sanders, we had one of the back the Herpetological Society did a deal out there, and yeah, he's very efficient. He's
I was
good.
going to say, how is that whole area out there for flipping? Is it good? Is it like 50-50? Is it?
Yeah, I've went out there and done fairly well, and I've went out there and did nothing. You know, it's just kind of weird. I went out there one day and I flipped 7 or 8 baby Western coach whips, which was pretty neat, under 10 and some loose rocks, night snakes, things like that. A lot of ground snakes, variable ground snakes and stuff. But uh, there's good flipping. It's just for me, it's a long drive out there. It's 3 hours, and it's so hit or miss. It's never great. I mean, it's okay, but out there for me, the road cruising aspect is a lot funner. If I'm going to go out there, it's probably going to be, uh, you know, in the summer when we're finding, you know, sagas and different things like that. Um, but that's another thing. The first couple of years I went out there, I found, you know, my sagas were fairly easy, and just that part of the state. And the last few years, I've really struggled with them. I find 1 or 2 a year, and that's about it. So
Well, and we had them. I say we have had them like in a lot of locations east of I-35.
yeah,
It's just they never really got tied to, tied into, this is, people, kill it. It goes on a neighborhood page. Someone says it's a timber rattlesnake, and it
yeah,
goes. And
yeah.
one of
People kill
my one of
Western Oklahoma, they'll kill them and call them pygmy rattlesnakes.
exactly. It's about time Pemberton Boys got in here. Come on, Pemberton.
Yeah,
Welcome
we've
to
been
our
talking
experiment.
about you. You show up at midnight.
Yeah, no kidding. After we're sitting here talking about your channel and all this
Yeah.
stuff, and then Nate told stories on you earlier, and I'm
Yeah,
just
don't go
joking.
back and watch it. Don't go back and
Yeah,
watch it.
yeah, don't go back and watch it. I mean, I need the watch time. Don't go back and watch it. But, but it's just kind of like I've had dry spells of those, and then it's just like I've looked for spots that are closer to home. I have
Yeah,
specific roads in western Oklahoma where people have found 20-25 a night of
yeah,
the sagas. And once again, I know that like a lot of the people that are finding them don't care about them. They're after
yeah,
the milks or the hogs or the horn lizards or whatever.
yeah.
And and it's just kind of it's kind of a different strokes for different folks. Another question from Ozak, which is Jessica. I want to say it's Jessica. Jessica, remind me if you're not Ozak. Besides snakes, what do you enjoy finding on your herp trips? I'm going to let you go first.
Uh, just honestly, just getting away from everything and relaxing. I got a stressful job. Going out and hiking. Pemberton will be with me on this. Me and him hike a lot. We used to hike a lot together. I've got lazy and fat, and I don't do it as much as he does. But just being out in nature and seeing the new habitats. That's half of what I liked about Arizona. I'll be honest. The snakes were incredible, but Pemberton will back me on this. Just going and seeing the difference. Southern Arizona is just so beautiful. You'll go up into the mountains in the middle of the day and it's 60 degrees, drop down on the desert floor and it's in the triple digits, and desert. And I love the desert. To me, it's just, I've always been infatuated by the desert since I was a kid. And, but so I guess long story short is just the scenery, seeing the different parts of the United States. But even if it's in Oklahoma, just being out in the weather, driving with the windows down, I don't know. It's just relaxing. And I guess the relaxation is what I enjoy the most out of it. So,
Well, and besides the actual snakes themselves, one thing that I come across that I find highly entertaining or interesting. Yeah, Serenity's part of it.
Yeah.
But like you find these places when you go out and do this stuff, when you go out and you get 2 hours away from a city,
Yeah.
like we were on the Illinois River. I was with I want to say I was with Jubal and his dad and Jimmy, who was the then president of the Tulsa Herp Club. Tell you how far back this goes. This was before Jubes was driving.
Yeah.
And I had a bad allergic reaction. And I was trying to get him to drive my truck. He's like, no, man, it's not legal, you know. And so we were razzing him about that. But it's like, man, my eyes are swollen up and we're like on this dark road and there's like no lights. It's like, Jubal, this might be safer, illegal or not. Like let's take the risk. And if you get pulled over, I'll tell the police that I put you up to it. And then, you know, then they'll give me the ticket because they won't pick on you when I sacrifice myself on the altar. But we found this schoolhouse that at one time was operable. It had desks. It still had some old books. This place had probably not been touched since I would guess the 60s, because like plants were growing up in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And stuff. And we found like 2 or 3 species of salamander in that one building.
Yeah.
So they were using it as shelter. So it's kind of like the human artifacts. Like I get out in places down like south of Tulsa and like all over Oklahoma, you find a lot of stuff made by the Civilian Conservation Corps, I believe, which was it had something to do with the WPA project in the late 30s. But getting out and seeing some of that kind of stuff, the man-made stuff, the stuff that stood the test of time, and things that have been abandoned in your remote areas, things like old schoolhouses, old churches.
Yeah.
Things like that can be really fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah, that is neat to find that stuff. And one more thing I'll say about Pemberton is it's fun. I like taking him to Southwest Oklahoma because we'll be cruising down the road and he's like, you see that mountain there? That's, Longhorn Mountain. And on that mountain, this happened, and this happened, and this happened, old Native American history. And I don't know. It's really, that part of it's cool. And, but yeah, seeing new stuff, it's amazing. And I've come across some old buildings. I've never found anything like that, but old man-made stuff too is very cool.
Well, I tell you what, just for the sake of the audience here, we're going to drop the link for the Pemberton Boys too, because this is another channel that is this is another channel that's worth your time to subscribe. The videos are quality made.
It is.
And then he goes and says something like that in my chat. And I
see it now. No, he don't. Pemby does not. He's very knowledgeable. He blows my mind with the
thank you, Zach.
Yeah, with the stuff that he knows and the time. What gets me about Pemberton's channel is the time that he takes. The guy will take a weekend and drive across the United States and film stuff and he's excellent at putting it all together. He includes his kids. He's an awesome father. I've always complimented him on that. He'll take his kids and they'll have roles in it. And it's amazing to see him interact with his children and educate them and educate people on YouTube about Native American history and other history, not just Native American, but other history. And he's very, very knowledgeable. So, hey, Smith, Brad Spit here, maybe not Pitt. Yeah.
Oh gosh, yeah. Pemberton Boys, their channel is just absolutely legit. And I followed a guy named Dylan Young for quite some time. He's a YouTuber that's based out of Lawton, and his specialty is
I've seen some of his stuff.
Yeah, he's done like a lot of drone stuff. He's done a lot of tech stuff, a lot of his drone tutorials. He's pretty much how I learned how to fly DJI products.
Yeah.
He took a lot of the learning curve off for me. And, one time he was, like he stopped in one of my lives or something and we were like doing shout outs and links. And he was like, yeah, I love the Pemberton Boys. Their channel's just amazing. And I was just like, Oh wow, it's just kind of it's
Yeah,
like you don't know that he's watching. I mean, you never really
yeah,
know who's
yeah.
watching your channel.
Well, I will give Pemberton one thing. That dude, he is incredible operating the drone. And if you watch any of my last Arizona video and one of my shorts, there's some incredible drone footage in there. And people are like, "Man, you did awesome." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's not me, man. I don't even own a drone. I hope to someday." But the stuff that he was coming up with, he was flying. He'd like, "Here, do this. Drive your truck. Here, do this." And I'm like, "Okay." And then he pieces it together and sends it to me, and I'm like, that's amazing. And that made the whole Arizona video. I mean, it was cool finding the snakes and stuff, but his drone footage and then some of the footage he took of me interacting with the snakes, that made the whole uh, video. I mean, it was amazing. He does great drone work too.
Yeah, I and that's my thing is with the Wichitas being an off limits area for drone flying because of
Yeah.
it being a national wildlife refuge and close to a military installation. Oh, why did I know this was going to happen? Just
Hey, I will say, let's stop right here. You can ask Pemberton. When I met Smet Logic, I walked up and I had this humongous grin on my face. And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "It's like I'm meeting a celebrity." I don't even care to meet anybody famous like on TV, but like Smet, he's my man. Dude, I like my hands down favorite. No offense, Todd. He's my favorite Herping channel. But I tell him that all the time, and I mean it. Like it's. I love watching his stuff. It's entertaining. He's funny, and yeah, that was cool. So yeah, it was cool meeting that Smet guy.
well, for what it's worth, I still haven't met him, and I've been a fan of his forever, and
I
so
had to threaten him. I was like, either you're going to meet me or I'll find you, track you down, have a special set of skills, that type of deal. So he's like, all right. So finally, and
well,
unfortunately, it was only for a few hours. He was headed out. We were headed out. We bumped together for 3 or 4 hours, but hopefully next time we'd spend a little more time together.
well, and that's kind of another thing is like when you're really when you're really driven to go out and find stuff and get it done, it's like you know, um, Joe biologist that wrote this book is on the next rock cut or something, and you're sitting there, yeah, but like I'm finding snakes here, and
Yeah,
I've never seen a Texas night snake from this location or a molossus from this location, stuff like that, and it's
yeah,
like feeding in your head. You're kind of like, I mean, yeah, there is like the social aspect of going different places and meeting different people,
yeah,
but still, it's like you're just kind of geared into getting out and getting the mission accomplished and and stuff like that and like I knew I was getting on Autumn's nerves that last time I took her out with me because we went over west at Guthrie, look in that northwest pocket, not quite to Watanga, but we were working that whole area and I'm just like, it's a broad-banded copperhead. Who cares? Get in the truck, And she's just like, yeah, but I've never seen one before. And I'm just like, And so I was like, I just kept on harping on the target, and I kind
yeah.
of I kind of goofed that up
Those
for.
were
So
times.
I owe her one. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
try and pay her back. But
Yeah,
I
this.
agree what Pemberton said. Smet Logic is a herping legend. The guy's been making herping videos for 15 years. Money back guarantee on my
Yeah.
channel. Um,
He is, and he's incredibly humble. This thing I was kind of like, you never know when you meet somebody what they really like, and I will say with Smet, he was 100% what I expected. He's very humble, very very knowledgeable, and it was a good time hanging with him for just a
and he
few
brought a
hours.
lot of cool channels together if you look at it.
Yeah,
Like I didn't know who
yeah,
Swatchy was. I didn't know who Hitcher over in Russia was until
yeah,
Smet came and did what he did. And
yep,
so, I like Squatchy the other night. I was on the phone with him till midnight trying to help him figure out some things about iMovie and some other things. And he threw it out, as like, I'd rather have he said something about like having, the a smaller group of really good friends versus having millions of
Yeah.
followers. And I was like, yeah, I kind of feel that way about this little group that pretty much came together because of a Smet Logic shout out video. I mean, that's where a lot
Yeah.
of us, that's where I got Squatchy, Hitcher, Livestream, Jordan, all those guys.
Yeah.
And so, but then again, it's like, I've been just this week going back and finding, this odd miscellaneous Smet Logic herping video where they go to like Casa Bonita in Colorado,
Yeah.
and just stuff like that. And it's and like he's probably got another one or two somewhere that I haven't seen, but I will nail him down. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just I can't say enough good things about Smet Logic. He's my favorite field herping channel out there too. He definitely finds them sagas and prairies in his quest for the almighty milk snakes.
Yeah.
That one where he found like was Smet Logic. Let us know in chat. Was it 24 or 25 milk snakes you found flipping boards that one day?
Oh, I think it was a lot more than that. It was like some astronomical number that I'll never find in my lifetime.
I'm thinking of the title. That's what I'm thinking of. I think I'm thinking
Yeah.
of the title. Smet Logic. If you have a link to that video handy, feel free to drop it in my chat.
That was one of my first Smet videos I watched because I think it was I was early in my career of herping, and I was like, I want to know how to find a milk snake, and I typed it in there, and I was like, my goodness, this guy makes it look so easy. Where's he at? And that's a good video. It's an incredible video.
Exactly, and that's another thing that I would impress upon anybody watching. If you're wanting to learn more about herping, watch videos from people who have already like either nailed down your target species or find a lot in general. There are a few people out there that probably don't find as much as they make it look like they find. I'm not talking about like Smet Logic at all, but you kind of start to see through that too after a while. And but like when I watch like a Smet Logic video or a like a Noah Fields video, Lou B video, I'm kind of like, okay, they're going for this rock. What's it about that rock? And once again, I've been field herping for decades. I mean, I'm as old as dirt, but you can still learn something new from some kid who's been doing this 4 months, is what I've found out.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It kind of gets under my skin at times, but
and learning, like I said, going out yourself and learning. I have this knack of I have that the close to home area. I can look at a rock and I will tell you at that specific area if there's a copperhead under it. I think Steve was with me, Pemberton Boys, Pemby, on the last one. If I remember, I was driving down the road and I was like, see that rock over there? There's going to be a copperhead under it. Flipped it up, and sure enough, there's a copperhead under it. And it's just, but specific types of rocks and specific habitat, you start to learn what to look for. And that definitely helps. But yeah, some guys, I've done it long enough, I guess. They know that wherever they're at, they're really good at it. It's pretty neat.
I kind of think that I have the same luck with the pygmies over here, because like copperheads move in pretty much the same conditions, and we've got roads in central Oklahoma where the pygmies are just all over the place.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say the name of the road, obviously, but when someone shows up and they're here from Canada and they want to see a copperhead, they want to see a cottonmouth, they want to see a western pygmy rattlesnake, and you're sitting there going, these are really big things for them because they're not from where they're at.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
So like I had my cottonmouth area that I had for ages, and it turned out it connected to like a pygmy area and some other things. We knew pygmies were there. We just didn't find them like one day we went out there for cottonmouths. I think we found 27 at
Yeah.
this one pond, and that was me and four other guys counting them all.
Yeah.
And it's just, things that can. That's one thing I've got to remember is a lot of times something that's not a big deal to me may be a big deal to someone
Yeah.
else.
I struggle with that too. We go out and you got to keep an open mind to this. Sometimes I'm like, come on, that's just a whatever, it's common, it's everywhere. Well, not where I'm from, and
Right.
it's easy to get kind of caught up in that.
And and I've done a lot of research locally, like in where I live now. Now that I'm on the other side of Tulsa, I'm on the west side of Tulsa.
Yeah.
I've got Osage County. I'll just leave that
Yeah.
out there.
Oh
Osage
yeah.
County. Think
It's
Osage
right there in
County.
your backyard. Yeah.
And
That's true.
I've gotten amazing tips from people who are here locally. They would never hit a herp group. You would never know they exist. And they're like, hey, I killed this 4-foot rattlesnake in my backyard. Did you now? Did you
Yeah.
really? Gosh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can look around for you, to just see if I find any, I can take them with me or whatever, or I can not say anything about them and
Yeah.
just leave them there. But at the end of the day, I'd rather see them relocated than killed. I mean, I know
Yeah.
that that's a controversial subject in the field herping community, but the west side of the tracks, yeah, that's good. Hey, Moon, thank you for joining us.
Yeah. I try to, in my local community, I'm kind of the snake
The snake guy.
as you'd say. And I get a lot of in spring. You're probably the same way. In the spring, it's once or twice a day. Hey, what is this? Or can you come move this? Or whatever. And I'm the same way. It's it is controversial to relocate them, but if they're going to kill them, or if it's venomous, I got there was a lady that hit me up east of Duncan that she all of a sudden started finding pygmy rattlesnakes all over her house, and she'd never found one before. And I went and relocated a few of them, and I was trying to figure out why. And I asked her on the phone, I was like, "So do you have any construction anywhere around you?" She's like, "Yeah, as a matter of fact, the next section over, they're bulldozing all that. They're developing it." I'm like, "Well, there you go. They're fleeing. They're destroying their habitat, so they're fleeing to find other places. And your house has a food source. It's got it is what it is. You're going to have mice and frogs or whatever. They're going to eat all kinds of other snakes. They're going to be around the house, and that's why you're having them here." So,
Well, and I tell you, I just moved to the Sand Springs area from the Broken Arrow area. And where I lived at in Broken Arrow, I was about 3-4 miles south of the Hard Rock Casino in Catoosa.
yeah.
They start developing this field next to the neighborhood I'm living in. And all of a sudden, everything starts turning up. And the wife sends me a picture and it's like, ID this. And I'm like, it sucks that I'm at work. That's an Eastern Hognose.
Yeah.
And it's on our next door neighbor's front porch. And like, I couldn't buy one of these for years, I would luck across one in early spring. And I got into this horrendous fight with my wife because I'm like, grab the snake, put it in the bucket, take the bucket inside the house. The hognose snake is the one snake in Oklahoma that will not bite you.
Yep.
I mean, they don't bite. At least
they're scary. They won't bite you.
I've never been bit by one. She's like, no, little musk on me and all this stuff. And I was like 10 miles away at my job, and I could just feel my fever rising because it's just, this thing was beautiful. Had like 4 or 5 different colors.
Yeah.
Had the reds, the dark orange, the gray, the black. And we found snakes just really kind of, I don't want to say nonstop, but like racers would show up, rat snakes would show up. We would find 3 or 4 hognose a year for those 2-3 years that they were working on that neighborhood. And you kind of realize that they were there all along, and just the habitat destruction is what drove them out. So,
absolutely.
Yeah, and like Pimby says, at least pygmies don't chase people like cottonmouths. Now that's a good point.
Cottonmouths.
Pygmies just twitch. They do this twitch thing.
Yeah.
And I don't even know that they really bite people, but they twitch a lot. We know that.
The prairie king snakes do that same thing sometimes. Not as much as the I've noticed. It seems like anyways, not as much as the pygmies. But yeah, it's kind of a weird behavior. I don't understand it, but I don't know.
Well, that one prairie king that I brought home that dropped the eggs on me.
Yeah.
Those babies, because I carried I kept those eggs for like 2 months because that was the gestation time. I was really surprised that they all made it. But some of those
Yeah.
guys come out of the egg doing that thing and they're like,
Yeah.
doing that
Yeah.
head bobbing thing.
Yeah.
And so, hey, Mr. J, glad you're here. And I was just kind of like, wow, it's like I've seen pygmies and sagas do it. I'd never seen a king snake do it, or I
Yeah.
guess I never really noticed it before that time. But the prairies, they're all over that old area in Broken Arrow. Um, the speckled kings were over there, and it was all around. It was all around good habitat over there. Over here, it's kind of a different kind of good habitat. I live by Lake Keystone, which you might as well just call it Copperhead Acres.
Yeah.
And honestly, I try to do as many of the calls as I can,
Yeah.
but people are tagging me all the time on the local pages. They're like, come and get this, or other people start tagging me and volunteering me, and
Yeah.
it's
I've
like,
had that. It's sometimes there's not enough hours in the day, especially in the springtime. You'll hit 4 or 5 a day, and yeah, I do what I can, and I'm not as well known as you are, so I can only imagine you probably get 10 times what I do.
well, and I've had odd experiences where, like, the news people here locally contact me, like the Fox outlet, the ABC outlet, or something. We're doing a story on copperheads, and we called the local zoo, and they said they didn't have any video footage, but they said you would have footage. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, footage is what I got. And they're like, can you do this? Can you do that? Can you make an 8-second clip and send it to us? Yeah, okay. So I stop what I'm doing, send them the clip, edit it down, make sure it's in the format they want, do all that stuff. And then they like email me back, thanks for getting this done for us. By the way, our producer killed the story.
Yeah.
And then I'm kind of like, then I find out later that, I track down a reporter, I face stalk them or whatever. And they pretty much, they come out and say like they're into snakes too, but their producer wanted to cover the fear angle and wanted,
Yeah.
so I just assume at that point, I just assume not be a part of it.
I
Plus
agree.
with copperheads, it's like, hello, you live in a big rocky outcrop by a lake.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm
You're
even
never
through.
gonna.
I'm not saying I'm through relocating copperheads, but I'm kind of like at the point. Oh, you want to kill them? Go knock yourself out. There'll just be more next year. It
Yeah.
sounds horrible, but you just kind of get to that point where it's got a 50-50 shot of surviving if you do relocate it, maybe
Yeah.
even less.
Yeah.
So
I,
maybe
I,
killing it is the lesser of two evils. I mean, I don't like to see that,
yeah.
but
I kind of try to also, if there's something like that, I'll try to usually educate people, because this is the thing that I've learned, and everybody in this chat knows it. I'm not telling you anything, but 90% of what everybody knows and their grandpa told them is completely bogus. And if I'm having a problem like that, and I'm having to relocate a lot of stuff, a lot of times I'll set them down and talk to them and explain to them why, help them understand it. And once they understand it, that fear is gone. And it's kind of the cohabitation. Like, listen, this is why they're here, yada, yada, yada. And, don't walk around barefoot outside at night. You're going to be fine. It's a pygmy rattlesnake. It's not going to come, all this stuff you've heard from your grandpa ain't true, and or a copperhead or whatever. And kind of teach them how to deal with it. And hopefully not by killing it, but, get them some tongs or whatever else. Tell them take it down to the rocky outcropping, put it back. It'll come back. But, that way I'm not coming out there 5 times a week and moving stuff,
right. And then I'm kind of coming to the conclusion that if the habitat's good, the animals are going to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, you know some of the like research and documentation and stuff I've done on the commercial rattlesnake harvest in
Yes.
Oklahoma and Texas. You start putting this together, you know, like this ranch in northwestern Oklahoma has people have been pulling atrox off of it for 80 years,
Yeah.
and they still pull 200-300 pounds a year. How are they doing this? Or is this just not affecting the populations of those animals? You know, you start putting these things together, and I'm not saying you don't want to relocate, but literally, you know, you deal with so much hokiness when you're that local neighborhood snake guy
Yeah.
that I get a call and, you know, so and so has a copperhead. Here's their address. Okay, just tell them stay away from it. You know, just don't bother the area. Then you get over there, they've bothered the area,
Yeah.
they've killed it, and then they want to know if you want it, and it's like, well, no, just go ahead and throw it in your trash now because like I can't do nothing with it
Yeah.
dead. I mean, and they're just like, well, you know, and it's just then you have people who, you know, have rat snakes and water snakes, and they think they're copperheads. I mean, that's just rampant everywhere. And,
Everything that has a brown tint to it is a copperhead. That gets so annoying. People, I find copperhead. No, no, you don't, because you don't live where copperheads are. But no, I've got one. And I'll send you a picture of a Great Plains rat snake. You're like, yeah, that's nowhere close to a copperhead.
well, and then you know, things have ways of cropping up in odd areas. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, you can find some things that are really out of place, but like you said, 9 out of 10, if it's a plain-bellied water snake or a western rat snake, and if it's by the water, it's a cottonmouth. If it's on land, if it's up in land, it's a copperhead. And
Absolutely.
I think you'd have a cottonhead, Mr. J. I'm not sure. I do know someone has done that. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, Pemberton Boys brings up a good point. Hitchhikers. We had a lady at the Lowe's
Yes.
in Broken Arrow that got bit by what the Tulsa Zoo confirmed was an eastern diamondback rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Now, how does that happen in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma? They were getting shipments of plants from Florida, and one like came in with the plants, and when she reached to grab it, like she got tagged by this little juvenile eastern diamondback. It wasn't like 8 to 10 inches long, and you know, and that's what they concluded was this was the only reasonable
Yeah.
explanation. But like recently, one thing that's been going around is, you know, there's no copperheads in northwest Oklahoma. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, a few years back in the Gloss Mountains area by Fairview, by the
Hmm.
Selman Bat Cave, a friend of mine found and photographed a broad-banded copperhead. And it appeared to have every indication that it was not a transplant. It's just like
Yeah.
they were probably there and just people don't ever see them, or it's remote area, doesn't get hiked a lot. Things like that can happen, and stuff like that generally I kind of keep on the down low because,
Yeah.
you know,
I, I've noticed stuff like that too, and a lot of time that you look at, the range. Obviously, the range maps are they're not 100% reliable, but you'll have a gap in there where 50 miles or something, you're not going to find any of what it says is in that range. Then you go outside of the range, and it's like everything I've noticed. It seems like it's in pockets. Like you'll have this section here that's heavy in this, but you go like locally where I live in Duncan down here is a prime example. I can go, just east of town, and it's like somebody drew a line. There's no copperheads. You're not going to find a copperhead west of 81 until you get over towards the refuge, and then there's a pocket of them. They're right here, that's like right here. You're not going to find them anywhere else, but just right here. And it's that way with a lot of species, it seems. And but yeah, they pop up in places that you wouldn't expect. The habitat's right out there. I could definitely see that. And the transplants, oil fields, a big one on that. They're coming from out New Mexico and West Texas and bringing stuff back. That happens quite a bit.
I always kind of wondered about that viridis that got tagged on INAT right outside of Oklahoma City.
That's where I was going with that. Actually, I was thinking about that. That I was told that was a hitchhiker from West Texas. What they concluded, there was some oil field equipment supposedly like quarter mile away or something. That's logical explanation to me. I mean, unless it was an escaped pet or something somebody had that wasn't supposed to. So
Right.
Well,
And one thing is that I keep reading about is the atrox population at Canopolis State Park in Kansas, which it's some idiot that's going up there and releasing like 10 or 20 of them.
yeah,
He's catching them in Oklahoma, releasing them in Kansas, and somehow they're establishing and surviving there.
yeah,
And they're not native to that area. They, from what we know, have never been. Once again, it's kind of a funny deal because just last night I was talking about Texas horn lizards and how they used to be over the entire state of Oklahoma, into Arkansas, into
yeah,
Missouri, into Kansas, and now they're very rare east of I-35, but still found in some areas west of I-35. Heck, I'd never thought we would see them leave from this area, but habitat destruction and pesticides and things probably did a number on them.
yeah.
Um,
You always hear this, but when I was a kid, right here in Marlow, Dunk Stevens County, you find quite a few of them in the summer, and I've not seen one here in this area in probably 20 years. But if you go to Western Oklahoma, I'll find them on the roads right time of the year. So,
well, and I tell you what, do you know if they've ever had like a legit timber find in the Wichitas?
and I seen where Pemberton said that there was a picture taken, and Pemberton probably knows more about it than I do, of a timber rattlesnake right there in the Wichitas. It was right in the middle of the Highway 115, just into the gate. My first thinking is just what he was talking about, a hitchhiker. This thing, it could have been fell off of a car. I mean, it happens. I've actually been behind a pickup and seen a snake fall out from underneath it one time, right here in downtown Duncan in front of Walmart. That stuff happens.
Right.
But, I have heard for years that where he's saying up north of Apache, there's supposed to be a very small pocket of timber rattlesnakes. Personally, I've never seen that. There's some fairly reliable people that say they're there. So, I mean, it's possible, and if you look on the Wichita Mountains, the list of animals that are there, I can't remember the official wording for it, the species list, Horridus is listed on there.
Wow.
So that would make me think that at least at one time there's been one found there. That dates way back into the early 1900s. So it's nothing. Maybe back then there were, and they're not in the area anymore. They've been killed out. I don't know. But,
well, a lot of people don't realize that the Horridus go west of I-35 in the state.
yeah.
And we
They
know
do.
that there's a handful of spots where they do. They're not common there.
Yeah.
But like I know, like at the Apache rattlesnake deal that they do every year, like usually someone brings in a couple of timbers just so they can have them in the pit so they can show them off. I'm not saying I endorse that in any way, but it's kind of like you kind of wonder, did someone go let some coach whips loose and nobody bought a belt from the timber, and so they just pitched it out of the truck with it? I could totally see that happening.
Yeah.
But like down by Lawton, do you know where the soccer fields are in Lawton?
Yep. Right off the
Okay.
interstate.
Okay. So then I'm taking it about the cottonmouths in that area.
Oh yeah, they go on Cache Creek. You'll find them. I found them all the way up almost to the south side of Lawton, but I've never really looked north. But there's been sightings of them on Fort Sill. I mean, they're there on Fort Sill, and there's been a picture taken of them actually in the wildlife refuge on the south side. I've never seen them.
Wow.
But, there was a picture taken of one that was posted in a hiking group, and the guy has no reason to lie, and he was right. Yeah, West Cache Creek, what Pemberton said, up just into the refuge, and they are also listed on the species guide there. So they go up more than what you think, and they're right there on Cache Creek. You're not going to find them anywhere off of Cache Creek, but yeah, they're there.
I was going to say, I'm kind of like looking over by like the Medicine Park, Indiana area, Mount Snyder, places like that. And I was aware of the population down by the soccer fields, because actually a friend of mine was the first person that I knew that talked to me about it.
Yeah.
Because we used to put in our literature back in the Tulsa Herp Club that the cottonmouths they're not generally found west of 35. But when you get south of Oklahoma City, that habitat can get tricky and intersperse.
Yeah.
But I had no idea until this guy talked to me about it,
Yeah.
about the Lawton population. And
Yep.
I'm not really worried about like leaking that information because like all the locals down there, they know they're there.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. And I had a few people tell me, and I called them liars and told them they're stupid. They didn't know what they were looking at until I go over there and I'm like, oh, okay. I'll owe you an apology, I guess. But they are there.
well, and it kind of follows along that everything is a cottonmouth, everything is a
Yeah.
copperhead urban legend. So I think we sometimes have this gut instinct to say,
Downplay things.
yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had a guy one time. I was in a park in Broken Arrow, and I'd borrowed my friend's like high dollar Sony DSLR. It was like a top of the line camera to photographs of water snakes. I almost said milk snakes, water snakes, because there was a den underneath this bridge, and the rocks that made up this bridge were where they would hibernate. They would hibernate back in those rocks. And I'm sitting here like down off the beaten path, setting up this camera that, I mean, my gosh, this thing cost as much as my truck, and so, you're kind of like nervous and apprehensive about using it anyway. But I was trying to like just nail down some like really high quality pictures of erythrogaster, which is what the species was. This guy comes along and he's like, you need to be careful down there. I'm like, I will, thanks. And he's like, no, serious. Or what do you say? He said, water snakes, non-venomous water snakes and cottonmouths can crossbreed and become venomous. And I was just like, I'm sitting there like this $5,000 camera in my hand. This guy is acting like he wants to fight. No kidding. I mean, he's kind of like doing this number on me. And it's like, and I'm like, oh, really? That's interesting. I'll keep an eye out. Have a good day. Yeah. And he's like standing there going, what? You don't believe me? Punk? I mean, he's really coming off like wrong. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, dear God, I need to kill this guy and get it over with. And then I'm the only one left to tell the police the story. Well, he was charging at me with a weapon, and he's probably on meth, and he probably was. I mean,
yeah, the legends, the urban legends, all the stuff that it's amazing how much they're just completely wrong, but they know that they're right, and it don't matter how much facts you throw at them, they know because their great grandpa seen something back in 1927, and it's true.
Well, and I love it that you can like tell them, look, go post this in Oklahoma Snake Identification Network. See what they say. You don't believe me? Fine. Yeah. I'll bet you $100 that's what you're looking at. I'll bet you another $100 these guys will back me up. Yeah. You can watch them go post it over there, and then turn around. You can go to their personal page and see where they're calling me, you, Kyle, Jake, everyone. Idiots, liars.
Yeah, we don't know what we're talking about.
We don't know what we're talking about. Yeah, it's just, 15 guys, half of them biologists, all concur. What you're looking at is a western rat snake, but you just can't get the copperhead out of your mind. It's it's amazing. A funny thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot of people you can educate, and some people I try, and you just realize that you're not going to get anywhere with them, and I just walk away because it's not. You're just wasting your breath. Definitely happens.
I'm of the same volition. I want to see that someone cares about education before I go trying to teach anybody anything, because like with the copperhead issue, I put my own name out there for a while because it's like, if you've got copperheads that you want off your land and you're going to kill them, I've got tongs, I've got buckets. I don't mind dealing with some of that stuff. But I'm also kind of wondering what else you got out there, because
use it as a recon mission. I get it.
Use it as a recon mission, and and people who know me, they know what I'm up to, and it's not that I'm being sneaky about it. It's, I sincerely wouldn't mind walking the land and seeing what else, we can find out there.
Yeah.
And if I've got permission to be out there and flip stuff, well, then, who knows what could come of it.
Always spin it, you found this one venomous snake on it. Would you like me to check around and see if maybe I'll find any more habitat, see what, if I find the habitat, know what I'm dealing with, I can give you good advice as how to combat the problem.
Right. Exactly. But even then, just the amount of people that would call you and then they'd ask me what I'm going to do with them. And I'm like, well, I'm either going to, release them or something, far away from your place, of course. They're like, oh, you're not going to kill them? No, I'm not going to kill them. And then they're like, get off my land right now. I don't want you here. I'll just kill. Oh, knock yourself out, guy. I mean, you just got to let things.
I used to tell people that, a very high, vast majority of snake bites come from uneducated people trying to kill said snake. And then, that's kind of my spin on it. You keep messing with them. You don't know what you're doing. You're going to get bit. Just leave them alone. No reason to kill them,
Well, and do you ever, for as many venomous snakes as you see, for as many venomous snakes as I see, do you look back through your own videos and go, wow, I almost took like a bad hit there.
Yeah.
I goofed up.
Yeah, I've done that. You learn a lot. As Pemberton will tell you, it's kind of laughable with me. I don't have a whole lot of money to be buying these, zoom lenses that I can stand 3 feet away from a venomous snake and take a picture. So I have done the typical Southern Oklahoma redneck thing, and I come up with a
same thing I've done.
Plexiglass shield that I can mount my camera on. I drilled a hole in it, and I can get down there with my 45 millimeter lens and get close and take pictures and stuff. But before then, I would just try my best to stay behind my camera, stick it up there, and and I'm pretty good at judging that snakes are obviously all different, but I'm pretty good at judging their temperament. You can get them in an area where they kind of figure out that, they're not going to bite you. It's not going to work. They kind of go into a chill mode. And that's when I go to work and taking my photographs. But I've been in some spots before when I was early into this that I was fortunate. And that's what's good about having Pemberton and, Andrew Peck, another buddy of ours, comes out with us sometimes. And it's kind of good when you get in the moment of taking those pictures or worrying about the shot, the videos. They're kind of there to be like, hey, dude, you're getting a little close. Because there's been times I don't realize I'm that close. You just get in the moment. Jubal did that with me out in Western Oklahoma. One of my favorite shots I took all year was just an Atrox and the sunset in the background. Turned out very well. But I didn't have my shield with me that day. And I was up there taking my picture. And Jubal, who I respect his opinion very much because he's very knowledgeable and he knows a lot more about it than I do. At one point, he says, hey, he says, you're way too close, man. You need to back up. And I stop and look, and I'm like, yeah, I'm about 8 inches away from this 3 foot long venomous rattlesnake. I probably need to back up. I'm like, good call, But yeah, that does happen.
Well, and one thing that I feel that you kind of beat me on here, like if we're going to talk about this in a friendly, competitive kind of way, and Smet Logic piped up again, so I'll go ahead and throw him in it too. Like a lot of people like, man, you should include more photographs in your videos. And I like what you've done with them. I like what Smet Logic does with them. I like what Ori Martin, the Texas snake hunter, did with his photographs. But at the same time, it's like when you're the solo guy working the snake hook, when you're the solo guy working the video camera, and you're keeping an eye out for feral hogs, everything else, cars, vehicles, you really, I've kind of come to the conclusion that without like an extra person, I'm just not going to mess with a lot of photographs outside of iPhone type stuff.
Yeah. It's hard to do. It's very challenging. I've done it before, and it's very dangerous. And my trip that I took by myself to Arizona, that was a great concern of mine because I was dealing with Mojaves and things. You never want to take a bite from any Crotalus, but you definitely don't want to get hit by a Mojave when you're 3 hours away from a hospital by yourself at 2 in the morning. and that was hard. It was challenging, and I may have took some I don't know, chances I probably shouldn't have on that, but man, it's always nice it's nice to have somebody with you that can watch over your shoulder. And I have a brother. My brother Jake, he don't really like the snakes, but I enjoy hanging out with him. He enjoys hanging out with me, but he's a lot of time he's my right hand man. He'll sit there. He'll work the hook for me, however, to keep them in place so I can get down there and work. And he helps me a lot. And he's not a fan of snakes. I had some little like a ring neck last year, and I was like, "Here, will you hold this for a second?" He's like, "No, I'm not going to hold that." I'm like, "Are you for real?" He's like, "Yeah, I've never held a snake," and I'm like, "What?" But anyways, he does help me out a lot. If you're by yourself, man, it is very dangerous because you can only focus really truly on one thing at a time. And if you're focusing on getting your focus on your camera right, or your aperture, anything like that, man, and you take your eyes off that snake for a second, it can sneak up on you.
Well, and it really can, it really can be over with quite
I would
quickly.
drive through Deming to go to another hospital, Steven. We have a long story about Deming, New Mexico.
Oh, gotcha.
I didn't interrupt you.
We'll have to hash that one out sooner or later.
We were sleep deprived. We've been up about 24 hours, and
go ahead.
Deming, New Mexico is a very unique town. If you've never been there, yes, Smet, crazy place. We went in there. We tried to eat at like 3 restaurants, and after like the 4th crackhead hit us up for some money, and I think we almost witnessed a stabbing. We're like, yeah, you know what, dude? I think we're going to get out of here and just head on down the road and be hungry. It was it's become the running joke between me and Pemberton. We're always talking about Deming, New Mexico. Every time we drive through it, we got to send each other a video or a picture of it. One of them deals.
Well, I tell you, being here in Oklahoma, you find some interesting things here as well. Yes. Someone from I want to say the Prague area. Do you know where I'm talking about? Prague over there, kind of by Chandler.
Yeah.
Someone was bitten by what they believe was a timber rattlesnake. They went to the hospital. They went to the local hospital. They didn't go to one in OKC or Tulsa. They went to the local one that was over there by them. And what they I guess they looked at him, couldn't find any signs of envenomation, sent the person home. The person didn't want to go home. And then the next day they just like killed over and died. Wow. And it turns out it was like something linking to the toxicity of a snake bite. And I've heard of, stories of like people in like Bartlesville, which is north of Tulsa, where they won't start the antivenom until you either show the symptoms or if you bring the snake in for identification, which we've been telling people not to do that for 15, 20 years now. Yeah, because you think hospitals out there don't still operate like that, but some of these smaller weird ones actually do. Yeah. And now I've got to throw in Deming, New Mexico into the finder because that's just got to be one of these places. I got to go and take some pictures. But it's like
just keep driving. That's my advice. Just keep driving. Don't stop. It's not worth it. If you're out of gas, just push your car to the next town. It's only like 40 miles.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Oh, that's some great looking. That's over by Silver City. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to. It's like the most ghetto place. I hope nobody likes Deming in here, but honestly, it's like the most ghetto place I've been in some ghetto places. It takes the cake, man, like 5 times over. I wasn't like scared, but it was sketchy. Like I always carry a pistol with me, and it was really close while we were there. It was pretty rough place. It just didn't feel very safe.
Well, and then there's people like me that probably wouldn't go herping there because I don't believe in guns and I refuse to own them. And they
Yeah,
they threat
heard
they
that about
threaten
you.
my personal safe spaces.
Heard that about you.
Sorry, but yes, sketchy's a good word. Funky cold Medina. And
Yeah.
once again, Smet would know. Smet would know. But I don't
If
know,
you
man.
look
My
up
voice.
sketchy in the dictionary, it says Deming, New Mexico.
There's a picture of him in New Mexico.
Uh, City
Any
Council.
any favorite New Mexico spots?
I haven't spent a whole lot of time in New Mexico. I went to Black Range last year. Me and Pemberton hit up in the spring, and it was just the wrong time of the year. Once again, you go back into learning what time to go where. Me and Pemberton and my brother, we hit up El Paso and we went up to the Black Range, but it was early in the year and we really struck out. We should have went later in the year, but boy, it is beautiful. And from all accounts of everything I've seen, that's a good place to go up and through there. But I haven't spent a lot of time in New Mexico, honestly. We hit the Oregon Mountains north of El Paso. Me and Pemberton did. Um, and we just a few gopher snakes. We really didn't do too well, but I need to invest more time into New Mexico at the right time of the year. Do some research. But,
Well, and
I
and
don't-
I would think that like over by the White Sands, Las Cruces area, up and through there, it would
yeah,
at least be good for something. Hang on a second. Got the first spam bot of the night. Let's see. Put user in timeout. Hide user
there
on
you
this
go.
channel. Bam. They drop those little links, and if you click on them, they're like,
Yeah,
they're just interesting. I'll say that
yeah.
I've seen people have clicked on them and they've told me about what they've seen, and they're just yeah.
Never clicked on one. Never been so fortunate. Yeah, I think it will take you to the. If you click on it, most time it takes you to the Deming City of Commerce, the Chamber of Commerce website. I think that's where it goes.
And that's when we have to pay like Steve to like hack them and get them back for
Yeah,
us, or something.
exactly.
Because people go in and don't come out. Did you what?
Pemberton.
Oh, good heavens! This is too much fun.
We did go through Hatch, New Mexico. That was a cool little town. We didn't spend much time there, but that caught my eye. It had looked like it had some history there and be a cool place to hang out. But we were pressed for time. We flew through it, and that was about it. But that looked like a cool place.
Yeah, I tell you, I think they've got. Is that where the chili festival? Don't they have like
so.
the festival? I know that's where the chilies come from. The Hatch chilies.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh. Well, man, I tell you what. I'm not trying to be a party pooper. I could probably go all night, but my voice is starting to give out a little.
Yeah, I get it. I've been up since 7.
Yeah,
hitting
dude.
that wall.
I don't see how you do it, my friend.
Well, I'm supposed to be at work at 7 in the morning too, but it might get stretched out a little bit till about 8 or 9.
Well, and I may try to go get some drone footage of the MLK parade in Tulsa tomorrow, and I don't know what the scene is going to be like down there, so I'm going to clear like all my drones and stuff off tonight. But I volunteered for the MLK committee through my previous employer for like 5 years in a row, and actually was really into the parade aspect. Worked on the float. A lot of people don't know that about me, and stuff. So I may go. That starts at 11 tomorrow, so I may shoot down there and see if I can get a good vantage point and not get harassed by anybody. And if I can, I may just try and do some video from it, and nothing major, but I've had a good time tonight. But I can tell you my voice cut in 2 hours.
I get it. And I've ran out of liquid too, and I can't carry my computer in there. I used my computer, so yeah, I get it.
Well, I was going to say, man, you don't have a bell that you just ring, and
If I ring a bell, my wife would throw the whole bottle of water at me and hit me in the head. Y'all would get a good laugh. So, and she's not feeling real well. She's in bed, half sick. So
I understand that. Yeah, my wife goes to bed. Everyone's always asking me why I go on late and why I never like give anyone a heads up. Well, half the time I don't know that I'm going to go on.
yeah,
I just go on, and I get it. I do not like to use StreamYard. I will for special occasions. It's very easy to use. I mean, you will have to do one on your channel sometime and like have like me and Smet and Pemberton on or something.
Heck yeah, we can do that.
And but it's really simple to use. You copy that link, you message it to your friend, they click on it, they have the studio.
Yeah.
Then they just like hit join, and I just okay them on my
it was
end.
easy. I had no idea what I was doing, and I managed to figure it out. It's pretty
right.
easy.
And I still like doing my lives from this channel because it's just a way to keep uploading over here and keep time going over here. And I'm dropping a baby timber video tomorrow, and it was actually one that you get the backstory on it. If you hit my lives, you get the backstory. Otherwise, just you're not getting the backstory. This was actually, I want to say, a captive snake owned by Richard Butler.
Yeah.
He does a lot of education in the Oklahoma
does.
area, and he's got like all his permits. I mean, I just don't even think to ask. But I want to say it was his baby timber rattlesnake, and I don't know if he had rescued it or someone was going to kill it or what the story was, but he had helped me work on it. And that one day I got to work and film some of his critters was just absolutely amazing, because he had that second person that knew what they were doing with a snake hook.
Yeah,
it's
definitely helped.
It's invaluable. But man, I'm going to bring this to a close pretty quick. Any final thoughts or closing?
No, I appreciate you having me. And Smet, I see he has a video to finish. I'm really looking forward to that. And thanks for everybody for tuning in. I had a good time.
Definitely. And if it's good with you, I'm going to leave this up. If ever it becomes not good with you, you let me know. It's down within 10 to 15 seconds.
I'm fine.
Okay. Well, just, if anything else comes up later, you have any issues, you know how to get a hold of me. You text me, and
I got you.
And I've got you covered.
I'm gonna find you.
Yeah, there's Shrek Swamp 918. That guy's a local buddy of mine. You should go check out his channel. He does some interesting stuff.
I'll do that. I will do that. I think I've seen some of his stuff. I'll go check it out, make sure I'm subbed to him and all that good stuff.
Well, they had one, and I don't know why they pulled the video, but it seemed like everybody was using something, and then someone's phone got dropped down like a 30-foot cave or something. And
that's not good.
It was an awesome video, and I don't know why he pulled it, but bro, hit me up sometime. Let me know why you pulled that, because I watched that stupid video like 10 times. It was classic. It was just like, oh my God, there goes his phone. Oh, it sucks.
Cool. I think I did. I was thinking I followed you. I know I've seen your name and stuff, your channel. So
yeah, he's getting his channel off the ground too, and he's a good dude. He's a bro.
Good.
So he's real good and stuff. But man, like I said, I'm starting to.
Yeah, I'm hitting that wall. My bed is calling me. I get it.
Well, we'll call it a night. And like I said, I'm going to leave this up. Remember one thing about doing lives. Once you unlist them, from what I understand, you lose the watch time, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
So it's something to think about. I mean, I was trying to talk to Squatchy about this last night. And because he was kicking around doing a live, and I kind of think like he might be able to actually pull it off, just with a little bit of help from StreamYard. And I may do the same thing for him next week. Who knows? But
heck yeah.
But either way, man, hit me up and be in touch. And if anytime you want this to go private or unlisted, it's no sweat off my back. Just let me know. And Snakes on the Plains, go sub them. Their channel link will be down below and will be in the comments section after this post. So have a good night, Snakes.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Had a good time.
See you later.
See you.